Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture.
This is Shenheiyuan in Chang'an District, Xi'an, a plot once thought to be just ordinary farmland. But in the spring of 2004, a chance construction accident completely changed its fate. A supersized ancient tomb, built to specifications comparable to that of an imperial mausoleum, quietly emerged, shocking the archaeological community. Who was worthy of such a grand underground palace? Who, after sleeping for 1,000 years, still commands such awe from later generations? As archaeologists dug step by step, they discovered not only the remains of a mysterious woman buried here, but also a large number of astonishing burial items. Some scholars even boldly speculated, the tomb's owner may well be the grandmother of Qin Shi Huang, the legendary and powerful Empress Dowager of the Warring States period, Empress Dowager Xia. Today, let us take you to the site of the Shenheiyuan Grand Tomb to uncover the Millennium-Old mystery behind it, to experience that era of iron and fire, and to witness how a woman behind a kingdom left an indelible mark on history. In May 2004, construction of the new campus of Xi'an University of Finance and Economics was in full swing. During construction, workers accidentally discovered what appeared to be wall-like structures beneath the surface. This news quickly reached He Jianhong, head of the archaeological team, who sharply realized that this land, known as the Eastern Valley of Kings, might hide untold secrets. The area where Shenheiyuan is located had seen the rise and fall of capitals from 13 dynasties, including the Western Zhou, Qin, Western Han, and Eastern Han. Countless historical relics lay buried underground. The very next day, more than 30 archaeologists rushed to the site for a large-scale survey. The results were shocking. Beneath the loess, they found a rare, shaped tomb with 4 burial passageways, a layout historically reserved only for emperors or queens. The mausoleum was immense, 548 meters long from north to south and 312 meters wide from east to west, covering about 170,000 square meters. It featured protective moats on the outside, rammed earth walls inside, and a grand north-south axial layout. 13 auxiliary burial pits surrounded the main chamber like stars dotting the night sky, guarding the tomb's secrets. The burial chamber itself was approximately 135 meters long and 110 meters wide, with a depth of 12.3 meters, on par with the size of the renowned Qinggong No. 1 tomb in Shaanxi. Who was buried here? Could this be the long-sought royal tomb from the Western Zhou dynasty? The whereabouts of Western Zhou kings' tombs have remained a mystery in Shangzhou archaeology. King Wen of Zhou established his capital at Fengjing, and King Wu moved it to Haojing, the two cities facing each other across the Feng River. Shenheiyuan lies only 20 kilometers from these ancient capitals. The tomb's size and location seem to hint it could belong to a Western Zhou monarch. But archaeology had only just begun, many more questions awaited answers. The archaeological team decided to conduct a protective excavation of the Shenheiyuan tomb, assembling its most elite members. However, the excavation turned out to be far more complicated than anticipated. At the junction of the east and west tomb passages, the tomb broke through a layer of black saline soil, a type of soil unique to the Loess Plateau, formed during the early Western Han period, at least 600 years after the Western Zhou. This cast serious doubt on the Western Zhou theory. Adding to the confusion, the East Tomb passage was trapezoidal, wider at the top than the bottom, a design typical of the Warring States to Qin Han period. Furthermore, there was almost no mound above the tomb, consistent with Western Zhou customs of no mound, no tree, but conflicting with post-Warring States imperial burial traditions involving large mounds. These contradictory clues made it increasingly difficult to pinpoint the tomb's era. The team desperately needed physical artifacts to clarify the tomb's dating. As the excavation progressed, the outline of the mausoleum gradually became clear. Rammed earth partitions, 4 gate towers, and the auxiliary burial pit surrounding the tomb chamber all indicated the occupant's high status. But a startling discovery quickly raised concern. A collapsed area on the east slope, known as Ash Pit No. 13, emerged. Initially suspected to be a robber's tunnel, further investigation ruled out looting. However, the discovery of another, older collapsed pit, Ash Pit No. 15, made the experts uneasy once more. To accelerate progress, the team turned to excavating the auxiliary pits, which were easier to clean and might provide key clues. The K8 Chariot pit in the southwest of the tomb was the first major breakthrough. After nearly a month of digging, 6 horse skeletons and the remains of a finely decorated chariot were unearthed. Red pottery, sand-tempered jars, and gilded silver ornaments on the horse gear pointed to the late Warring States to early Qing period. In ancient China, social ranks were strictly codified. According to the Book of Rights, the emperor rides 6 horses, feudal lords 5, high officials 4, nobles 3, scholars 2, and commoners 1. A 6-horse chariot was reserved for the emperor. The discovery in Pit K8 suggested the tomb's occupant had an extraordinarily noble status, possibly even equivalent to that of an emperor. Combined with features such as the black saline soil break and the trapezoidal tomb passages, the team preliminarily concluded that the Shenheiyuan tomb dated from the late Warring States to Qin period, ruling out the Western Zhou theory entirely. Although the hope of discovering a Western Zhou royal tomb was dashed, the tomb's scale and opulence remained staggering. Who, then, was buried here? During the late Warring States to Qin period in Shaanxi, the most powerful state was Qin. Could the tomb belong to a Qin noble or even royalty? Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum lies at the northern foot of Mount Li, and the tomb of Qin heir Shi has also been documented. Could Shenheiyuan belong to another prominent figure of Qin? As the excavation deepened, the team suffered a major setback. At the bottom of Ash Pit H3, a circular looter's tunnel appeared, right above the tomb chamber. The tunnel walls were red from heat, with dark gray-black interiors, clear signs of burning. K10 Chariot Pit also yielded bad news. The chariot was shattered, horse bones scattered, and there were visible burn marks. These signs confirmed that Shenheiyuan had not only been looted but also set ablaze. In the winter of 2004, a heavy snowfall forced excavation to halt. The team packed up in the biting wind, hearts heavy with disappointment. The tomb appeared thoroughly plundered, its treasures possibly lost forever. Yet the archaeologists did not give up. In August 2005, work resumed. Tracks of cartwheels at the north gate, a 2-meter-deep moat, and the complete layout of 4 burial passages gradually emerged. The tomb chamber lay nearly 10 meters deep, within reach. But what they found shocked everyone. The tomb floor was as hard as brick and nearly empty. Only a few melted metal remnants and 2 unburned iron nails remained. The looters' destruction had been thorough, beyond anyone's imagination. Even stranger, they had set up stoves inside the tomb, leaving behind pottery and household utensils, a complete departure from traditional grave robbers' enter fast, exit faster approach. Who would dare to loot and destroy an imperial-scale tomb so brazenly? In auxiliary pit K12, the team found a peculiar animal skeleton. It had limb proportions between human and animal, with abnormally long arms spanning 1.6 meters, unlike any known species. Remains of bears, leopards, and muntjac were also found, indicating the tomb owner might have kept exotic beasts. After years of research, scientists from the Shaanxi Archaeology Institute and the UK confirmed through 3D modeling and comparative anatomy that the skeleton belonged to a previously undocumented species of gibbon. Based on ancient texts and the possibility that the tomb belonged to a Qin Empress Dowager, the researchers named it Imperial Gentleman Gibbon. An even more exciting discovery came from the tomb's bottom, ivory counting rods coated in red and black. Red stood for positive numbers, black for negative, ancient tools for calculations involving both. This discovery pushed the history of negative number use in China back to the late Warring States period, over 800 years earlier than the known Indian system. Not only were these rods made of precious materials, but they also revealed the mathematical and technological advancement of Qing society, suggesting the tomb occupant had strong ties to the intellectual elite of the Qing state. In the spring of 2006, the excavation of the tomb chamber entered a critical stage. Although the tomb had been looted, archaeologists discovered over 100 burial artifacts near a robber tunnel in the southeast corner, items that the grave robbers had missed, including bronze vessels, jade turtles, and pottery. Among these, a 65-centimeter-tall alkali-shaped vessel was especially striking. Its surface had turned red due to intense fire damage, and the inscription, Si Guan Ziyang, was etched onto it. According to the Book of Han, the Si Guan was an institution that served the Empress and Empress Dowager. The appearance of this object was the first strong indication that the tomb's occupant might have been a woman. Later, an inscription reading Beigong Ufu was found on another musical instrument, further reinforcing this theory. The Beigong Ufu was an imperial music bureau that provided entertainment specifically for empresses and dowagers. The evidence increasingly pointed toward the occupant being a Queen Dowager of Qin. Based on the tomb's massive scale, its ceremonial six-horse chariot burial, an imperial standard, and its dating from the late Warring States to early Qin period, the archaeological team narrowed the possibilities down to two historical figures, Queen Dowager Xia and Queen Dowager Xia. Queen Dowager Xia, known in history as Mi Batzi, was a concubine of King Huiwen of Qin and the first Empress Dowager in Chinese history to wield actual political power. Born in the state of Chu, she ruled behind the scenes for 41 years with great intelligence and boldness. She orchestrated the alliance between Qin and Chu, driving Qin's expansion and pushing its national power to its peak during the mid-Warring States period. More than just a political figure, she was known for decisive internal and foreign policy moves, such as the famous Yizu King incident, where she seduced and ultimately eliminated the Yizu King, thus securing Qin's northwestern frontier. Her legendary life was popularized in the TV series, The Legend of Mi Yu. However, historical records state that Queen Dowager Xia was buried in Jiang, northeast of Mount Li, over 100 kilometers from the Shenheiyuan site, making the location inconsistent with this theory. By contrast, Queen Dowager Xia is a more likely candidate. She was the mother of King Zhuangxiang of Qin and the grandmother of Qin Shi Huang. Although historical records of her are sparse, her status and influence were considerable. Originally a concubine of Liu Buwei, she was later presented to Prince Zichu, who would become King Zhuangxiang. During Zichu's time as a political hostage in the Zhao state, he lived in poverty. Liu Buwei, recognizing his potential, supported him financially and gave him Lady Xia. She gave birth to Yingzheng, who would later become Qin Shi Huang. After Zichu ascended to the throne, Lady Xia became queen, and following Zichu's early death, she continued to hold sway in court as Queen Dowager. Queen Dowager Xia's transformation, from concubine to queen and ultimately to Queen Dowager, was remarkable. More importantly, she played a crucial role in Qin's transfer of power. King Zhuangxiang ruled for only 3 years before dying, and Yingzheng became king at the age of 13. During his youth, the state was co-governed by Liu Buwei and Queen Dowager Xia. With her status, she participated in major decision-making, and together with Liu Buwei, stabilized the government, ensuring that internal chaos would not derail Qin's unification efforts. Records also suggest a close, perhaps even intimate, relationship between her and Liu Buwei, though her political influence is undeniable. Her intellect and decisiveness laid the groundwork for the rise of Qin Shi Huang. Queen Dowager Xia's life was also shrouded in mystery. Among the burial goods found in the tomb were remains of rare and exotic animals, gibbons, bears, leopards, suggesting that she may have been fond of collecting strange and valuable creatures, a common aristocratic hobby during the Warring States era. The discovery of ivory counting rods further hints at her involvement in the advancement of culture and science within the Qin court. These rods, used for calculations, also represent the mathematical and financial sophistication of Qin, perhaps something she helped cultivate. Even more telling is a passage from Records of the Grand Historian, biography of Liu Buwei, which states that Queen Dowager Xia was buried alone in the east of Du. Du East is exactly where the Shenheiyuan site lies, southeast of Xi'an. The trampled mud marks found at the northern tomb path suggest the tomb was completed during the rainy season in Guangzhou, June to September, aligning closely with the historical timing of Queen Dowager Xia's death in summer. The tomb's scale, Imperial-grade chariot pit, and the inscriptions, Si Guan Ziyang, and Bei Gong Yuefu, all point toward a woman of extremely high status. Queen Dowager Xia's profile fits the features of this grand tomb remarkably well. Despite the increasing clarity around the tomb owner's identity, numerous mysteries still haunt this ancient site. Who set the fire? Who looted the tomb, cooked meals inside it, and left behind ceramic pots? These traces, dating back to the late Qin and early Han periods, evoke the turbulence of that era, the fall of Qin, the Chu-Han contention, and the fire and blood that swept through the Guangzhou region. Historical records mention that after Xiang Yu conquered Xianyang, he burned the Qin palace and even vandalized the tomb of Qin Shi Huang. Could the signs of fire damage in the Shenheiyuan tomb be evidence of that very act of revenge? While this remains unconfirmed, all clues seem to point toward one name, Xiang Yu. Today, robber tunnels, scorched earth, broken relics, and scattered remains, like pieces of a puzzle, gradually reassemble the outline of history and reveal the true image of this legendary woman. The ancient ivory abacus, the bones of long-extinct gibbons, the luxurious chariot pit, and the exotic beasts, all testify to her extraordinary status. She was none other than the grandmother of Qin Shi Huang, one of the most influential female figures in the history of Qin, Queen Dowager Xia. Now, this imperial tomb, once buried in silence for 1,000 years, lies beneath the new campus of Xi'an University of Finance and Economics. Yet history has not vanished beneath the dust. The artifacts in the ashes, the charred stones, the lost bones, all continue to whisper stories of a dynasty's rise and fall and the glory of a woman who shaped it. The legend of Queen Dowager Xia is not merely a chapter in Qin's royal history, it is a fragment of the deeper memory of Chinese civilization. And the story of her, and the enigma of the Shenheiyuan tomb, is far from over. In the future, perhaps new discoveries and technologies will help us uncover more of the truths hidden in this ancient grave. And we will continue to follow these fragments and clues, through the mists of time, to hear the voices long buried by history.
This is History and Culture channel. Like and subscribe are the biggest help and support for us. Thank you everyone. See you next time.